Have you ever been conned? Did you learn something? Do you still remember the feeling? Well, this is my story. Hey beautiful people, my name is Millie and you're welcome to my channel. Okay, so it was a beautiful Friday. I went to the salon, then after I had to go for work. Now here I am sloping down to get a taxi. There was a taxi that was waiting for me, but in front of it there was this car and the lady waved at me. She looked like my friend's mom. So I had to go and say hello to my so-called friend's mom. I reached there, looking at her, she's not the one. So she goes, "Oh my God, you look like Linda." I'm like, "Yeah, you also look like my friend's mom." She's like, "Oh my God, like the same height, same size, even the kind of dressing." I'm like, "Sorry, I'm not the one." So she asks, "Where are you heading?" I'm like, "I'm heading to town." It's like, "Oh, jump in. That's where we're heading to." Guys, in my entire life, I've never, ever entered a stranger's car. That day, I entered. So now I enter. There are some other two people in the car. Now there is this person that I mistook to be my friend's mom who introduced herself as Carol. Now there was also a driver, and then there was this old woman at the back seat who Carol introduces as her boss, right? Yeah. And they asked me, "So what's your name?" I'm there disclosing myself. I don't know these people. My name is Millie. I'm studying this. I studied that. I finished that. I'm working from here. Like, guys, the way I was disclosing myself to these strangers as if I knew them, eh? So now they tell me they're also dealing in refrigerators, and apparently they're where I'm working from is not far from where they operate from. I'm like, "Oh, cool." So they tell me they deal in refrigerators, brand new, and then the used ones. Now the boss exchanges the number. She's like, "In case you need any, please, you can take my contact." I'm like, "Oh, cool, cool." So now she gives me her contact and tells me to call on her so that she gets what? She gets my contact too. I did. Cool, cool. And then the boss is like, "Guys, you're going to leave me. We're going to stop at the next stop because I need to pick something from my husband." We're like, "Cool, cool." So she stops. She gets that. We stop and then she gets out. Now she comes back after like 2 minutes. She's like, "My husband is not yet here. I think I'm going to let you guys go. I'll come with him." So we go. As we are setting off, now Carol sees some other guy who was standing on the roadside. He's like, "Ben." And Ben goes like, "Carol, Carol, how have you been? Oh my God, long time. What are you up to?" You know that thing of long time no see, that excitement, eh? That is what was happening. And Carol is asking Ben, "Where are you going?" Ben is like, "I'm heading to town." "That's where we're heading to." Guys, Ben enters the car. Now Ben looked so exhausted, as if he has spent like 5 days without sleeping. Eh? Like his eyes were red. I don't know, but he looked exhausted. So they start jazzing. "How is the business these days? What is going on? How is your baby?" Now Carol is telling him that he's having a baby. She's breastfeeding, blah, 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 blah. And now Ben is like, "Yeah, I'm still dealing in Tanzanite. By the way, if you need them, you can let me know." She's like, "I think I should get some now that my boss is not around, because when I get them from you at a cheaper price, I can tell her that I got them at a higher rate." at a higher price. Ben is like, cool, if you have money, why not? So now she's there. And then she asked me, Millie, do you know Tanzanite? I'm like, no, guys. I didn't know that Tanzanites look like this. Those of you who do not know them like this, right? Yeah. So they are minerals, zoic minerals, and they are made of calcium and aluminium. So now they're talking in huge sums of money. And now Ben is like, yeah, I have even clients I'm going to meet. Carol is like, oh my God, this is a great opportunity for me, but I don't have cash on me right now. Can we go to my workplace and you pick the money? Then Ben is like, no, my clients are waiting for me, blah, blah, blah. Now Carol is asking me, Millie, do you have some money on you there? When we reach, I'm going to refund it to you because we are not so far from each other, right? I'm like, oh, sorry, I don't. Then she goes, I'm the one even who suggested. I'm like, maybe if we can stop at a bank, at an ATM machine, I can withdraw some money and I give you. Guys, she asked for $600, right? So she's like, oh my God, Millie, you're so kind. That will be so helpful. Thank you so much. I'm like, cool, no problem. We stopped and I went to the ATM. I withdrew the money. Now the ATM only allows $300 per day. So I withdrew. But while at the ATM, the spirit told me, Millie, what if you're getting conned? Like slightly for like 2 seconds. I'm like, she's my fellow woman. She can't. I didn't know women can con too. So Momo me, stupid Millie. So now I withdrew the 300 and I came back. I told her, Carol, sorry, the ATM can only give me what? 300. And she's like, oh, there's a teller there. There's a bank there. You can go to the teller. Again, stupid Millie went to the teller. I'm like, oh, cool. I went to the teller. Like, I didn't have any problem at all. Went to the teller. I collected the more 300. Meanwhile, while at the teller was even disturbing me. Oh, the signature is not correct. This tail is not supposed to be there. This dot is, you know how they disturb at the tail. Hey, Jesus. Now, not knowing that God is trying to save my Kamani, guys. So now I withdraw the money. I go back to them. They're there patiently waiting for me. I go, I give them the money. I give now Carol the money. She gets the Tanzanites. So we drove off, heading to town, right? Now, after like 3-5 minutes, she gets a phone call. Carol, and she put, for some reasons, she put the phone in a loudspeaker. Now, there is this baby that is crying on top of her voice. Huh? Like shouting. Now the lady's like, Carol, I don't know what's wrong with the baby. She's crying. I've tried everything. I don't know what's wrong with her. Blah, 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 blah. Please come back. Come and take her to hospital. Now Carol gets stranded. Like she acts as if she's confused. She's stranded. She's like she doesn't know literally what to do. And I'm there feeling sorry for her. I'm like, oh my God, God, please help this lady with her baby. Please, please. So now Carol has to go back to see what's wrong with her, with her baby. Now Ben is like, guys, I think I'm going to leave you here because my client is waiting for me. Now Ben goes with the money and leaves Carol with the Tanzanites, right? So now we are 3 in the vehicle. We remain 3 because she still has my money. I mean, I need to get it. Now she suggested, Millie, do you know what we should do? Because I told her I'm running late. I can't go back. I'm running late for work. So she tells me, how about we do this? You give me your contact and I call you when I reach town. Let me give you my contact. You also give me yours. I call you when I reach town. Then I give you these Tanzanites. You go with them. So when we meet, you give me my money. Rather, you give me my Tanzanites. I'll give you what? Your money. I'm like, cool. The car turned because I had to go for work and I had to board a taxi. Meanwhile, it was like around 7-10 minutes to town. and it was around 1. So I had to board a taxi. Now, while in the taxi, the spirit came back and like, what if they've conned you? And you know, when you're trying to console yourself, I'm like, no, she can't. She's my fellow woman. I go, I move on. So we agreed to meet at 3, right? Now 3 comes, 3 reaches. I waited for her phone call. She's not calling. I 3:10, not calling. 3:20, not calling. In my mind, I'm like, maybe she's still stranded with her daughter or something. But then at the same time, another voice is telling me, Millie, you were conned. But I'm trying to console myself. No. So 3:30, I call her. She picks. She's like, oh, Millie, I'm soon reaching. Like in 5 minutes, I'll be there. I'm like, oh, cool. Now I tell myself, she's a fair woman. She can't con you. Guys. 3:40, she's not reaching. 3:50, nothing. 4, I call back. She's not picking. I call again. Not picking. 3rd time, she's not picking. I'm like, okay. So now I call the boss. I explained to her the whole scenario, and then I tell her we have to meet. I gave her money, so I gave her my money, and I have her Tanzanites. We have to meet so that we exchange. It's like, how much money did you give her? I'm like, $600. She's like, oh, okay. Let me get back to you. I wait for the call, like 10 minutes. Now, you know, when you're on a clock, time is not moving. You're like, I'm waiting for the phone call. I'm waiting for 10 minutes, 20. I call her back. The phone is off. I'm like, okay. So now I call Carol again. She's not picking. Now I call Benny's number. Meanwhile, Ben gave me his number because he told me in case you need Tanzanites because they are big deal, like you can get them. But I took the number just because I didn't want to get to be rude, but I knew I wouldn't need them anyway. So I called his number. Was it on, guys? I called Carol's number again, but it's off. Hey, Jesus, guys. I started shaking, like literally every single part of my body was sweating. I'm like, Millie, you've been conned. Guys, I tried the number like how many times? 1,000 times. The number you're calling is not available. The number you're calling is not available. The number you're calling. Guys. But on the other note, I'm glad I was conned. So you do not want to miss my next video because I'll be talking about why I'm glad I was conned. Okay? So guys, thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like, don't forget to practice kindness. Okay? All right. Peace.